The time is 5:30 p.m. for the special session of the Louisville call to order and announce that the quorum is present. Minutes of the August 6, 2019 meeting. Are there any additions or corrections? If not, may I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Aram, seconded by Karen. Those in favor signify aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 3 is consent agendas for plats. Item 3A, final plat of TRG Realm Edition containing 3 commercial lots and a mixed-use lot on 15.763 acres. This is out of the Amos Singleton Survey, abstract number 1138, with the zoning designation of mixed-use, MU, and general business 2, GB2 district, located on the southeast corner of Standridge Drive and State Highway 121. Item 3B is the final plat of Huffines Midway Edition, containing 2 commercial lots on a 4.92 acres out of the Samuel Hayden Survey. It's the abstract number 537, zone light industrial, and is located at the southeast corner of Huffines Boulevard and Midway Road. Jonathan?
Good evening, Commissioners. Staff has reviewed the 2 plats and they have met all requirements found in Louisville's land development regulations. I ask that the Huffines Midway Edition be approved with the condition that signatures be collected at a later date.
Okay, Commissioners, questions? If not, we'll vote on A and B together unless someone has an objection.
You have to do them separate or
No.
No, just with item 3B with the separate condition.
So is there any discussion? If not, may I have a motion on items A and B?
Motion to approve with the condition on 3B with a signature.
Motion by William,
Second.
seconded by Mary Ellen. Those in favor signify aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Item number 4 is a public hearing for zoning and special use permits. 4A is consider a zone change request from light industrial L1 district, general business GB district, Old Town Center business OTC district, Old Town Mixed Use 2 OTMU2 district, multifamily 1 MF1 district, parking PK district, public use PU district, agricultural open space AO district, 2 OTC OTMUT or U2 L1 and PU district on approximately 60 acres containing 192 properties within an area generally bounded by north side of College Street, on the east side of Railroad Street, and on the Dallas area rapid transit right-of-way on the south side by Elm Street, and the properties fronting the south side of East Main Street, and on the west side of North Charles Street, Church Street, and Mill Street, as proposed by the City of Louisville.
Good evening, Commissioners. This is an item that's been in the works for decades, actually. The 2003 master plan, one of the key recommendations of the plan was to rezone most of Old Town to pretty much a variety of 3 different districts, our OTMU1, our OTMU2, and our OTC. The zone change before you tonight is bringing forward a sizable area into conformance with that plan by rezoning the historic core of Old Town Louisville, which is primarily the 6 blocks that straddle both sides of Main Street between Charles and Keeley, to the Old Town Center Business Center District, OTC, and then pretty much the remainder of the area moving east from that area. So east of Keeley, moving eastward towards the railroad tracks. And as the caption stated, the northern boundary is College Street. The southern boundary is the properties that front the south side of Main. So this is probably our area of Old Town that has the greatest potential for redevelopment as envisioned by the 2003 Old Town Master Plan. The remainder area would be is proposed for rezoning to OTMU2 with some exceptions, and I will cover that. Want to give you a little bit of a timeline. Staff did perform an assessment of this targeted area starting in fall of 17 and presented those findings to the City Council at the retreat in the spring of 18. At that point, the City Council felt that now was the appropriate time to move forward with rezoning this area. Staff did hold an open house with all of the affected property owners in, I believe, November of 18. We had a very good turnout. A majority of the property owners that attended that meeting stated that they were in favor of the proposal. We did have some owners that expressed some concerns, particularly the warehouse owners, the owners that own warehouse properties that they lease out to different tenants. They felt that if they became a legal nonconforming use, it'd be very difficult to maintain their legal nonconforming status, because if the way the current zoning ordinance states that a legal nonconforming status is lost if the property remains vacant for more than 90 days. So we did take that back to the City Council in February this year to the retreat, and they directed us to identify the properties that are tenant, that are warehouse space for lease, for tenant space, or utilized by tenants. So we identified those. Most of them are clustered along the eastern portion of Church Street. And the council directed us to leave those properties zoned LI, kind of in a phased approach. This would be phase one. Phase two, we would revisit those properties anywhere from 3 to 5 years from now to determine the feasibility of rezoning those to ultimately to the Old Town Mixed Use District. Going back to the owners that were in favor, we had quite a few residential owners that are currently legally non-conforming. They would become conforming under this zoning district. So they were definitely in favor. And really, as far as some of the other uses that are impacted by the zoning, the existing automotive uses are currently legal non-conforming, and they would remain legal non-conforming. So there would really be no change in status. The same goes with the contractor storage yards. Those are currently illegal uses that can continue, of course. They cannot change or expand. They, again, their status would remain the same under the new zoning. There are quite a few benefits to this zone change. One is to eliminate the potential of new industrial uses. We had several major developers looking at some very large mixed-use developments in the area, and we had a couple of them withdraw because of the uncertainty of the zoning. They felt that with the light industrial zoning in place, a light industrial use could develop in the area. So changing the zoning to Old Town Mixed Use 2 will give a lot more certainty for any developers that are looking in investing in this area. We also feel that the zoning will position the city to better attract more desirable development, which is what is called for in the Old Town Master Plan. And again, all of this redevelopment does lead to a more walkable environment, and that's what has been envisioned the entire time, to truly bridge the historic core of Old Town to the area around the train station. So with that, I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Commissioners?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Richard. At this time, we'll open up the public hearing. Anyone that wishes to speak on this subject, you please come forward, sign in, and state your name, and respectively request that you try to keep it to 5 minutes.
Commissioners, I do have a couple of pictures I'd like to use later in the presentation, if I may approach and give this, at least one set of these to you all so you can see what we're talking about.
Sure. Okay.
Commissioners, my name is Bill Smotherman. I'm here representing the property at 612 East Main Street, the owner thereof, which is also the owner of 540, 550, and 558 East Main Street. We are here to request that those three properties, 540, 550, 558 East Main, be taken out of this rezoning. As you can see from the map that you've been provided of the rezoning request, these properties are in the extreme southeastern corner of that district. We believe that the rezoning of these three properties in question will adversely affect the value of this property and the ability of the owner of that property to expand his business. The properties are owned by the business at 612 East Main and constitute the primary expansion area for that business. The reason these lots were originally purchased were to give the business the ability to expand as economic and business conditions warranted. At the present time, the structure on one of these lots is being used as temporary office space, and there is some storage going on the other lots. This property owner is being adversely affected and treated differently from other owners in the same rezoning area, as they are being allowed to keep light industrial zoning even though they are more central in the zoning area. We believe that this is improper use of the city's rezoning and zoning authority and request that these three properties be taken out of this particular rezoning area. The property owner is the city of Louisville itself, as you can see from the pictures that have been passed out, obviously must think that some of this property should be light industrial as it's currently being used as storage, staging, and a dump for the property that's being reconsidered along Main Street. As you will also note, the owner for that property is not being compensated at all for the storage and dumping that is going on that property that is being perpetrated by the contractor and the city of Louisville. And the debris, the amount of storage is well in excess of what was originally agreed to verbally between the property owner, the city, and the contractor. The owner of the property is willing to work with the city of Louisville and has in fact worked with the city on this particular project to help enhance the design, traffic flow, and overall look of the project. All we're asking for is the consideration to allow the property owner to continue to have light industrial zoning, which is the zoning that he bought and has worked hard for several years. The man has paid taxes. He has looked to plan the expansion of his business using these three properties. And we request that these three properties retain their light industrial zoning in order to permit him to continue his business and his expansion. I wish to thank you very much for considering this request. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
My name is Andy Bowman, and I have a question. We have three properties down there, 315 East Main, 317 East Main, and 417 East Church Street. Is my understanding correct that we're going to be able to continue to operate those properties as they are now, even though this is rezoned? Is that correct?
I'll have to look at them.
Okay.
I have to verify.
315, 317 East Main, and 417 East Church Street. Because I know you said something about warehouse, but
Mr. Bowman, what's on that property today?
there is a business operating at 317 East Main, and we have a furniture restoration shop at 417 East Church Street. We've been there, the furniture shop's been there since 1985.
The furniture restoration shop at 417 East Church is recommended to be rezoned to Old Town Mixed Use 2, and the current use is a permitted use. So your status would remain
We will
unchanged
be
at that
able to
location.
continue to operate.
Absolutely.
What about 317 East Main Street?
Those are proposed to be rezoned. What type of businesses are operating there?
Right now, we, have, it's a rental property, so there is a tire shop in there right now.
Okay, again, it is proposed for rezoning. It's an automotive use. It's currently legal nonconforming use that can continue. And with the rezoning, it's a legal nonconforming use that continues. So no change to the status.
So it will be, okay.
No effects at all to the current operations.
And there's something about this 90-day vacancy that they're talking about. You're familiar with that? If the properties are vacant within 90 days. That really presents a big problem to the property owners, because there's a lot of stuff going on down there right now. And people who are coming up and wanting to open businesses because of the codes, they can't go in there and they can't open up now, okay, because of the way the codes are. And this 90-day thing, what that's going to do is that's really going to make it difficult for some of the property owners. At some point in time, the tenants that I have, they will be going away, okay? And then I'll have 90 days. When that starts ticking off and I get down there toward the last week or so, I might choose somebody who is less desirable that I wouldn't want there, or that maybe the city wouldn't want there. And this is what happens with this 90-day fuse. I don't think it's right. I don't think it's fair to us, and doesn't really give us a chance to really choose a good renter, a good tenant that would be a good fit. So that's one of my concerns about this situation.
Richard, after the 90 days, if the same type of business comes in, can they still be that type of business? They just have to go through the process?
Correct. And currently, that's the situation now.
Yeah.
Staff often works with owners, and if, we understand leasing takes time, and primarily, we work with them to make sure that, the building's not completely abandoned. Usually that 90-day rule really applies to situations where there are no utilities, there's no activity, the building is abandoned. So we have worked with many of the owners in the Old Town area to maintain desirable businesses in the existing structures so that they can continue operating and be productive in the area.
So if there's one utility on, they consider that to be occupied, is that correct?
It's on a case-by-case basis, but that's one factor.
That's one of the
Yeah,
factors.
if there's
Okay.
an intent
So-
to
Pardon
take
me?
care. If there's an intent
If we have an intent
reuse
to
the
lease
facility.
it. Yeah, okay, because see, it's a lease property, so there could be somebody else in there next. So that's one of my concerns.
Okay.
Okay, that's what I wanted to make sure. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Bowman, thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Linda Purcell, and I own the property at 430 East Church Street. And you might notice that the original current zoning has my property as light industrial, and the new proposed zoning also has it as light industrial. And I wanted to thank all the people that had worked on this and listened to me when I made it clear. Andy was just talking about various concerns that I had also about the 90-day rule and also being able to sell my property or use it for which it was intended. This property is a concrete tilt wall building of 9,000 square feet. It was built as a warehouse, and basically it doesn't really lend itself to other uses easily. So they listened, they talked to me and they listened to me, and they have changed it on this proposal as to leaving mine light industrial at this time. I know there were several other people that probably wanted theirs left that way too. I don't know. It looks like several other people have talked to them and they have changed some things. So that's just what I would like to say. And thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, my name is Norma Warren. I am the pastor of the Refuge Church at 514 East Main Street. I see that before we were considered light industrial, and now with the new zoning, it seems like we are Old Town mix. Is that going to affect our church?
Commissioners, churches are allowed by right in all zoning districts in the city of Louisville.
Thank you so much. That's all I needed.
That was it. Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else?
Andy Bowman again. I would like to also request that the three properties that I mentioned, the 315, the 317 East Main, and the 417 East Church Street, be taken out of this situation as far as the rezoning. We've had other plans, to expand the one business that we have on Church Street. I could have hired 10 more people, but I couldn't put the building up there next door and expand it because of these new laws. So at some point in time, I would like to do that. So, we've paid the taxes, we've maintained everything, we've done everything that we're supposed to do, and I would like to request at this point in time, because that would adversely affect us, our plans, and the value of our properties. It leaves us one less option, and I would like to request at this time that those three properties that I mentioned be taken out of this zoning and be kept at light industry, please.
Okay, your request is a matter of record now, so.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, having no one come forward, we'll close the public hearing. At this time, commissioners, comments, concerns?
What happens with the biosynthesis properties? Do they remain legal non-conforming?
I'm sorry, I did not hear your question.
What happens with the biosynthesis properties? Do they remain legal non-conforming if this is passed?
It depends on exactly what is planned. We have not seen, at least I have not seen exact proposals. I know our Economic Development Department is working with them, and I believe they own land at another location, so there are a lot of options. Components of that business could develop on that property, like the office uses would be allowed by right. It would just be the warehousing and the more intense uses would have to remain. As you may have noticed on the map, we have single-family residential just to the south. So it is a big concern about compatibility. We still feel that the most appropriate use is OTMU2 on those properties that they plan to expand upon. And again, I want to reiterate that the city will work with them to find a solution when they are ready to pull the trigger and move forward with expansion either at this site or another site. There are a lot of different options, and that's something that we will be glad to take a look at to help really create a win-win situation.
Anything else? Okay, thank you, Richard.
Excuse me, what was the question and what was the answer?
The question was the property at, oh, she's going to show you. The property at 540, 550, and 558 Main. Okay, at this time, do we have a motion?
Motion to approve as is.
Motion from William,
Second.
seconded by Karen. Those in favor signify aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Item number 5,
Mr. Chairman,
yes, sir.
this item will be considered by the City Council at a second public hearing where they'll be making final approval on Monday, September the 9th.
Thank you. Now with that, we have a motion to adjourn
Move to adjourn?
by Mary Ellen. Second. By Alvin. Those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned.